In a world where content is limitless, two dudes forge an unbreakable bond to become a part of something larger than themselves by creating a podcast unlike nothing the world has ever heard. Time is running out, and all hope will soon be lost. Their content could hold the key to fight against the darkness. No matter how many podcasts the people have listened to, they haven't heard us. Not us united. We'll start this week off like we don't start every week off. And how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Thanks for asking, Nick. It's like I don't know, the first time you've said that in a long time.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
Since you're asking.
Yeah, please. Because I know we don't typically talk except for when we record.
Yeah,
so,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't communicate with you unless there's a microphone.
I think I just want the people to also know that I care.
Yeah, that we are actually friends.
Instead of just be assumed.
Yeah. Well, I assume that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume it too.
Oh, okay, good. All right. Glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But no, I'm doing good. I will also ask you how you are doing.
Oh, good.
Oh.
But why don't you finish? Did you have more
No,
that you
no,
wanted to... Oh, okay. I thought you were like, before I say how good I am, how are you doing? It's
I
like,
was just saying, well, no,
so...
how good I am. I have a mango drink in my hand, so that I'm having a
Nice.
great time.
Great. I have a beer that was created in, I don't know, 55?
1955?
Yeah. Bud Select. Bud Heavy. 55? I don't know. Anyway. It tastes like beer.
Okay.
When I put it close to my mouth, it smells like I'm about to watch maybe like cars drive in a circle.
Yeah.
And I won't go any further into detail. I'll let people guess what that means. But other than that, no, I'm good.
You're. Let me just paint a picture for the people watching tonight. I walk into his home, and you can't control. I'm editing, so you can't control if this is staying in or not. So I walk into this man's home,
Right.
and he's
So far, so good.
He's wearing so far so good, having a great time. I walk in, he's sitting, like when you walk into his home, he has like this doorway like down this hallway.
Yeah.
And he's leaning against it.
Yeah.
And he's wearing a turtleneck, a green turtleneck, and then he has a fuzzy glittery sweater on top of that.
Right.
And he's just like, "Hello."
Yeah. Typical November evening.
Yeah, and so this is exactly what I was expecting to see when I walk into the door. And he has his real clean haircut. He's looking good. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I was caught off guard. He was a sparkly man.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of people they're like, "Whoa, is that Nick or is that Edward Cullen?" I don't know. And I'm just like, "Yeah, I get it. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Is that the highest compliment you could receive?
Edward Cullen? It's pretty close.
Or Tom Cruise?
Tom Cruise would, yeah.
Or Jason Momoa?
If I grew my hair out long enough and had the beard going and someone's like, "Wow, you look like Jason Momoa," I think
Game
I
over.
would literally just ascend directly into heaven. It's like God's like, and that's, I mean, like, what more do I need you to do down here besides look kind of like Jason Momoa? Like, game over. So that's the ultimate goal. But we'll start fresh.
Yeah.
I don't mind being a vampire. And arguably one of the best movie series of all time.
Yeah, you can definitely
most accurate depiction of like what true love looks like, you know?
Wow.
But anyway, so maybe we should
Nick.
visit Twilight later. Because I've got some things I'd like to say about it.
Yeah, you're gonna be far more positive on it than I am.
Yeah. And yeah. Those are those movies that like, you know, when you like are trying to review a movie like fairly.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, let's be honest. This. That's the movie where I just go, yes, it is a 2 out of 10. But to me, it's a 10 out of 10.
You're insane.
You know what I mean?
You're insane.
Everyone has one of those movies, you know?
Oh, yeah.
I'm trying to think of, like, what's a good example?
For me, it's Maze Runner.
Oh, Maze Runner, dude. My boy Dylan O.B.
Yeah,
Let's get it. Let's get it, dude.
D.O.B., baby. That's what we call him.
D.O.B. Holla. Yeah. He started in
Teen Wolf.
in my boy Teen Wolf.
My boy.
My boy Teen Wolf.
Wait, is he Mr. Teen Wolf?
No. That he is the best friend to Mr. Teen Wolf.
Mr. the Teen Wolf.
He is Styles Stilinski.
Sorry, Mr. the Teen Wolf is my father. Please
Yes.
call me just
Yeah.
Teeny Wolf.
That would be another, like, top 5 if somebody would just be like, Mr. Teen Wolf. And I'd be like, that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awoo, if you will.
Yeah. Mad Dog, Teen Wolf. They're basically the same thing. In all seriousness.
Look, we're trying to still get people to call you Mad Dog.
It's been surprising, like, the amount of pushback that people have about calling me Mad Dog. Like, people are like, instead of just going, that's stupid and ignoring it, they're like, that's stupid and I need you to know to not to be called Mad Dog.
Because I keep calling you Mad Dog.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, people really want to rain on my parade in that one. There's like, no way.
That's why we call you Mad Dog.
That's right. Hey.
You want to see the mad side of Mad Dog?
You don't. You know
what side I do want to see, Nick? The side of when we review the newest movie from Marvel Cinematic Universe, The Eternals.
Dude, I'd like to just review your transition.
Yeah.
That was insane. 10 out of 10.
That's why we are professional podcasters.
Yeah. Let's just say you're going to get a higher score for that transition than Eternals is about to get. Let's just say that.
Oh, okay. All right, let's get into that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've peaked. We've peaked today this episode.
Okay. It's time for a spoiler-free.
Oh, yes. We will start with our spoiler-free review of the newest movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, directed by Chloe Zhao.
Mm-hmm.
Director of
Nomadland,
which I have seen. Have you?
Mm-mm.
Okay, great movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's another example of Marvel taking these really great indie directors and then being like, "Hey, here's a project."
Yes.
Now some of that is very successful, some of that is not. We will get into what we think of that. But I think Chloe Zhao, great director in Nomadland.
Yep.
Maybe she might be not her fault.
Yeah.
How this movie,
Yeah,
I think,
it's
has
weird.
ended.
It would be interesting to do a deep dive eventually and just be like, what movies do we give credit to the directors, and what movies do we go, actually, it's okay because Marvel had to do stuff, and you just happened to be the vessel.
It just is interesting.
We would argue that Russo brothers had so much creative control because they were good. But I also agree there is something that feels a little like, I think you were dealt a movie.
Yeah.
And I think you directed it well. Now, the criticisms that are mostly coming out about this movie, I don't think are really have anything to do with the directing of it.
No.
You know? And so that in that regard, I think she's great.
Yeah. So I think we might be getting a little far ahead. Because I think we were just revealed how we thought about the movie. But
no, those were just other people's.
Oh,
I was saying most people are
Right.
saying a lot of negative things. Like this is the first Rotten movie on Rotten
officially
Tomatoes. If you know me, you know I don't give.
Because you ask me how I am, I know who you are.
You know me. You know me. I'm like anti Rotten Tomatoes.
Maybe like a fresh pineapple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Hold in your laughter, please. It's okay.
Oh, that was something. There's like a war.
There's a holy war in my
There's
name.
a holy war raging in my mind right now.
Yeah, I just made a great joke. It's okay
Oh
to
my
acknowledge
gosh.
it. It's okay.
Yeah, like a fresh pineapple. Yeah, it's a fresh pineapple.
That's my new website. Tropical pineapples.
Not even fresh. Just
No, because
tropical.
if a movie is good, then it's tropical.
It's tropical, and if it's not, it's like American.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's Saharan or whatever. It's like in a desert.
City-grown pineapple.
It's canned. It's canned.
It's city-grown. Yeah. So fake. It's organic or non. Okay. I'm just not a big fan of Rotten Tomatoes because typically they don't get what the audience.
Yeah.
It's usually
pretty
at
common.
odds with the audience. And the audience is just such a bigger pool of people.
Yeah.
That it just feels like the audience score is just so much. Like, it's weird that a site is built around something that, like, the people hired by Rotten Tomatoes, that score doesn't matter, but the people who make no money from Rotten Tomatoes give them the more accurate score.
Right.
So if you want to go to Rotten Tomatoes and actually get, like, a genuine, like, take on it, don't look at the critics' review of Rotten Tomatoes. Just look at the audience input of people who are putting in their own data free of charge. You know, like, that blows my mind.
But I just think there are times where, the critic review is so much lower or higher than certain reviews. And sometimes that is, like, just, like, kind of a bandwagon of either hate or love for a movie that can affect it. But I think there are times like this where it is, like, well, maybe. I don't know. It's just, like, I just don't love seeing where someone sees a Rotten Tomato score and is like, oh, I would never see that movie now.
Exactly.
And so, like, it holds so much weight for no reason. And, like, I was just like, go see the movie for yourself and decide if you like it or not. That's like my thing is, like, go see the movie.
And I feel like you and I've at least voiced this, even with movies that we've disliked. We've been very clear. You should always go see it yourself. If this is just helpful to let you know, like, hey, between the two of us, and you kind of know the body of, like, work that we've looked at so far, here's kind of where we're at. And obviously that will grow as we do more episodes, and people will be like, okay, he said this for this movie, and I really like that. So I feel like he
gave a fresh pineapple to Dune.
But it's never to shut down a movie. Like, I'll never go no, unless it's just some absolute... I just can't think, I can't even fathom, like, what it would have to be besides just some, like, movie that is clearly not what it advertised or something, you know? And so in that regard, I think, like, I just have a bone to pick with them. I just feel like it's just a very, like, not helpful. And if anything, it's like, I don't know if it makes people go see it.
No, I think it almost actively sends people
I think the
away.
only thing it bears fruit in is, like,
literally,
oh, it says it was rotten, guess we can't go.
Yes.
I don't know anybody who goes, hey, it's certified fresh, let's go.
Yes.
I've never in my life.
Because people are already going to go see the movie.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I already know what movies I'm going to see, so I know I'm maybe a little different than other people who are like, I'm only going to see certified fresh movies, but I've never met a human being who's said that.
No.
So, anyway, it just doesn't feel like it's helpful. But anyway.
That being said, yes, it is the lowest rated.
Yes, it is the only rotten score, because if it's under 60%, it gets the rotten score. So technically, every Marvel movie has been certified fresh. Even
like Thor: The Dark World.
The lowest one, I think, is in the low 60s, and so that's still considered fresh. Yeah. But, we'll see.
Interesting.
I'm curious to see what the audience score is. I haven't looked it up since, but I do think it's probably well above what they gave it.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that said, what would your spoiler-free take on...
There's a lot to unpack here with Eternals.
There is.
And a lot of it, I need to say in spoiler talk. I would say it is a departure from the Marvel formula, which I enjoyed. I really liked that it was different. Now, that being said, did it nail the different tone? I don't think so.
Got it.
I don't want to have my score and my opinions of this movie reflect my want for Marvel to be different.
Yes.
I liked that they tried here. I liked that they wanted to do something different. Even a movie like Shang-Chi, a movie that I enjoyed a lot, very Marvel formulaic. I would say I enjoyed this movie. I enjoyed what it was trying to do. I just don't think it did it I don't think it achieved what it wanted to do. And I can see, I'm not a person who, like I've said this before, like, I don't really, like, go to a movie and be like, well, they could have done this way. Or this a little better. Like, but, like, leaving Eternals, like, I could think of 5 things to do this movie that would improve it immediately.
No, the thing I was going to say, before anyone hears a score from me, I would just say, like, there are things that I absolutely love about this movie that other Marvel movies haven't even tried to do. And so the hard part is one of the first movies to ever kind of, like, tackle some of these things, getting a lower score, I think shouldn't correlate to the ultimate, like, thing that we should do going forward with the Marvel movies. And so, like you said, I think we'll need to talk about more of that in spoilers, because it does kind of spoil the story, kind of spoils, like, who is who and whatnot. But I will say, like, this is the experimental phase of Marvel, and so I would rather swings like this than to keep just repeat. Yeah. I understand that might make you more money, and overall your ratings would stay a little bit better, but I would say I would rather swing like this and have it fail a little bit more than typical Marvel fashion, and learn from it, and then figure out how to fine-tune that. Because I think that's where they need to go with the future of the MCU, is start doing just crazy shit.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
100% agree with everything you just said. Like, I want swings and misses, and I want attempts, and I want movies like this. And it's a sci-fi movie, really, at its heart. It's like, this is, like, right up our alley.
Yeah.
Like, this is, like, almost a Dune.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ish.
Mm-hmm.
But with a Marvel spin.
Well, and so what I was going to say, I don't know how controversial this is, but I was like, I almost felt like I was watching a DC movie.
Oh, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The difference is DC's like, we're swinging, and we're like, yeah, but we don't care yet.
Right.
You haven't made us care yet. For Marvel, they can start swinging because, did you watch Avengers Endgame? Like, they tackled the 20-plus movie arc and nailed it. They landed the plane. Now they get to do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
DC, on the other hand, kind of like started going, we did one safe movie, and now we're just going for home runs. And it's like, hey, whoa, I don't think anyone cares enough yet, you know? And so, like, I don't think they're as forgiven for what they did. But that's kind of where Marvel gets to do that now. And I'm hoping that DC, now that they've had more of a...
We got, like, the Suicide
now
Squad,
let's start swinging. You know, like, now that we've gotten kind of the Snyder Cut and stuff like that, where we kind of got to see one of the things finally come to fruition, and there's, like, finally been stuff built. Now I think they can start swinging. I think their problem was they were swinging before they even had the Justice League formed. And it was like, whoa.
That's the issue there. It definitely follows the tone.
Yeah.
But I just feel like there's so much going on in this movie.
It's also much brighter than most DC movies, so that also doesn't make it look like a DC movie. Yeah,
people are wearing different colors. But
yeah. The sun is out. You're right. My bad. Yeah, it's not just infinitely dark and rock music. Yeah.
Well, there is rock music in this.
That's true. You start off with some Pink Floyd, right? I think right at the beginning of Eternals. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is the vibe I want. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know what to say besides non-spoilery. I just don't think I liked the idea of where we were going, and I think there are too many characters. I think you could slim off some of them and make a cleaner story. I think the way they introduce some of the characters could be a little different, and like I feel like the general, like, we feel like we're kind of just progressing very slowly throughout the movie. Yeah. And I feel like that could be wrapped up a lot easier. Yep. Visuals, great. Design, great. Casting, good. But I feel like a lot of the acting was very stoic and very kind of stilted, and I didn't care for that kind of feel. Yeah. Kumail Nanjiani, great. Probably my favorite in the book or in the movie. Yeah. But his character was the comic relief, and it was so obvious.
Yeah, I think I heard it said, like, that's when I was listening to someone else talk about the movie, but they're like, and then that's when you remembered that it's a Marvel movie. Like, when he shows up, you're like, oh yeah,
we are in a Marvel.
We're in a Marvel movie.
If I would like this movie better if it was not in the Marvel movie universe. Yeah, I 100% stand by that. Like, it feels like there's moments where like, oh yeah, here's Marvel's.
Well, yeah, that, I mean, without getting into, there's no spoiler here, but it doesn't connect to the MCU in the traditional sense of like, hey, there's Tony Stark, or like, here's where we're at in the timeline. This movie really could, apart from like 2 lines, have been 10 years before this movie, 10 years after this movie. It really didn't matter. No. Like, even technology wasn't really used enough in it for me to know exactly the timeline. Somewhere in the like mid 2000s to late 2010s. Yeah. Like, that's pretty much, but even like, so there's just so little use of technology that this could have been in the 90s. This could have been
50 years from now, and it's all except for like 2 lines, and not even like flashbacks of like Endgame or anything. It just kind of talks about Endgame, and like if you're like looking away, you might have even missed it. And so apart from that, like, it's not an MCU movie.
Yeah.
You know?
I feel like this movie needs to not be an MCU movie. And like I think it would honestly bump up a few points because it just feels like it's sorry.
You're good. No, okay, so let me take it from there. I'm with you, but I think what they should have done is sprinkle Eternals throughout the last like 10 movies.
Yeah.
Since the characters are eternal, they live forever and have been here for thousands of years. That's in the trailer. I'm not spoiling anything. Why can't Kumail be, a movie star in
some movie or something?
Yeah, like Tony Stark goes to a movie and Kumail's the actor.
Yeah.
Why can't Cersei be like, just in the background as like some Avengers like gardener or just like they've sprinkled people in before. And I think that's what's so jarring is like it's not just 10 characters, it's 10 absolutely brand new characters, and we're supposed to believe that all this is happening in the Avengers.
Yeah, and the backgrounds and the shadows, and like that's where it feels weird to be like having them be like we've made a lot of decisions or something.
This was the same reason why like Thor 2 was, I think, not received well. Was you can't do Avengers 1 and save the entire world from a portal in the sky, and then do a portal in the sky and not have the Avengers show up. You just like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand the world is large, but there's threats that at this point you can't just pretend like, oh, the Avengers didn't make it to this one. No, there's like hundreds of them now.
Yeah.
Somebody's there.
Yeah,
you can't pretend. Yeah. So either do this in the 70s and make it even pre-Captain Marvel, and there is no Avengers, or do it in the future and you just don't do Eternals yet. Like, I feel
like what's the phase? What's the next phase's idea? Like, who's our main baddie? I feel like that's where like we're still kind of confused. Is like, why do we need Eternals now?
Yeah, and so I think it's going to be the Age of Ultron of this phase.
I don't know, but it doesn't set anything up. It sets up nothing.
It introduces us to a lot of extraterrestrial stuff that I think they're doing that for a reason.
Yeah.
And so this felt like Thor 2 in a lot of ways, where it's like, we need to introduce one of the stones. That's all that movie did.
You need to introduce.
So here's a whole movie, and here's the ether. And so this is the movie about Celestials, or whatever. So I
feel like you could do this movie, but have like 4 less characters.
Correct.
That's honestly, would make it better.
Yeah. No, I agree. Let's go ahead and give it a score, so that way we can dive into what we would have done differently, and like maybe some more specifics on like what went really well. Because I know we talked negative about a lot of those things, but I think we have a lot of source material to compare it to. And I want to compare why also some of the stuff they did was insane. And it was awesome.
Yeah, there's good stuff.
But also,
good stuff here.
Like, why? I think some of the criticisms are just. I think others aren't. So, I did kind of a rating with Kate. Kate did not like this movie more than I didn't like it.
Interesting.
And so she would have given it a. We used our like new little like system that I like.
Counting,
yeah. So like I was like, hey, what do you think of this as like a way to scale movies? And she's like, oh yeah. So we went through it. And she's like, I give it a 4.5.
Oh,
I was like, damn. But I was like, yeah, and I probably would give it like half point here and there more than she would. So I'm at about a 6. 5.5. 6.
I think that's where I'm at. 5.5.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's tough because I really love the ambition of this movie, and I don't like this movie not because it's not an MCU formula.
Yeah. So, and it's kind of weird because I just gave Rotten Tomatoes a bunch of shit, but I'm right around what they rated it, roughly. They give it like I think a 57 last time I checked. Maybe it's a little lower than that. But the more I've sat on it, it's actually started much lower than it ended.
Oh,
so I'm
so it's
like,
gone higher.
so like at about a 6 is where I ended up at. Yeah, I really enjoyed the overall plot. I really enjoyed the cast. I think the cast was insane. I think it's so cool that Marvel's to the point where it's just like, come one, come all. Like, before it felt kind of like you had to try out. Now it kind of feels like,
Anyone, yeah.
let's do it. You want to be in it? Cool. So I just love the diversity that brings. Like, it's not just your superhero-looking people. Like, this was like a team that was more of a family than it was, like, buff.
Yeah.
You know?
Even though Kumail Nanjiani looked dope.
He did get jacked, but when you wear leather dresses the entire time, I mean, it's like, you're only going to see so much, you know?
I saw his arms.
That's
that was
true.
Enough.
He did have, one T-shirt scene. But I was just like, and I think he even said he just wanted to use it as an opportunity for himself to get healthier.
Mhm.
Like, it wasn't like a necessity for the role. And so I think he just used it as like an excuse to get healthier.
Yeah.
So he looked great. But like, that's what I loved about it, was these eternal beings actually felt more like a family than, you know, some of these other just like, I can't sit next to Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans and act like I'm also an Avenger. You
Yeah,
know, like, this
yeah.
is insane. You guys are jacked out of your mind. You
Yeah,
know, like
that's
Paul
true.
Rudd can do it because he can get small and like turn into an ant and stuff. It's like, that's cool. But like, other than that, you got to be jacked out of your mind. The score was awesome. The sound of the movie was really cool.
Yeah.
And I think just the overall design did really set itself apart from the rest of the Marvel films. Like you said, it almost felt closer to like a Dune or like it was just very organic. Like, it was shot wide.
Yeah.
It was very vast.
The scale of this movie is very well
Yeah.
done. Like, the scale of the Eternals is really well done.
Yeah, I can't think of any. I mean, and like their uniforms, kind of, as like a guy who grew up as like a Power Rangers fan, just kind of felt like everyone kind of has their like color and their like
Yeah.
specific strength.
Yeah.
And so I love that shit. Like, I'm just like, oh, you're the purple guy with finger guns. Oh, you're the blue guy that can shoot lasers.
Yeah.
Like, you're the white one that has swords. It's like,
Yeah.
this is awesome. So like, it just kind of like hit on all that stuff. And I thought that was all done really well. Like, you didn't have to explain to me like, and you are the gift of wind, or like,
Yes.
you have the power of the beast, or like, you know, it's just like, you all just get
Yeah,
these cool.
visually they tell us that.
Yeah, it was sick. So, so I think where it was strong, it was really strong, and then where it was like weak,
Was
it was
pretty weak.
it was weak. So, yeah, that's where I'm at.
All right. Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Nick, I want you to name 4 characters from this movie.
Okay. They're all gods from Olympia, minus a few letters from their name. You have Cersei.
Got it.
You have Athena.
Thena.
Just Athena.
Thus Thena. Drop the A.
You have Ajax. You have Sprite.
Hey.
You have Hugo.
Drugo, or whatever.
No, that's Druig. Not Druid. Druig.
Druig.
I'm talking about Kumail. He's
Oh, yeah.
Hugo,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, something like that.
Gilgamesh.
Gilgi.
And then
There's,
there's
Farsi?
there's Fastus.
Fastus. That's it.
Fastus.
Yeah, the one that's yeah.
The engineer.
Yeah.
And then why can't I think of like Rob Stark?
What is his name?
Superman.
What is it? Yeah, what is his name? Oh my goodness.
Dude sucks. And I can't even think of his name. Dane Whitman.
What is his name? Wow.
You
Yeah.
know, he's that
Isaac
guy.
or something?
What?
Isaac? No.
Oh, he's Icarus.
Icarus.
Yeah.
Oh, because he flies
He
into
literally
the sun.
flies into the sun. Yeah, that was a little on the nose, but I loved it.
I love that. That part was so funny because it was just like, that feels like such a weighty, not to jump clear to the end, but like,
Yeah.
it feels like such a weighty moment. He's like, anyways, yeah, I'm sorry, I betrayed you and killed like our leader. Anyways, I'm gonna go like fly into the sun now. Bye.
Yeah, that was insane. I think it was also the movie doing what you wanted it to do from the beginning, which was just have less characters because they just can't all exist anymore.
Yeah. But like, you could bring them back, but also like, I just feel like the way this movie got dragged down for me was like, we're just jumping from character to character to character.
Yep.
Like,
there were just too many arcs that no matter how good they were,
no.
it didn't matter. Yeah, I agree. Love Cersei.
Yeah, she's great.
Love Dane Whitman for the 5 minutes that we got him. I thought Kit Harington was sick. Like, I was like, oh, you fit into this world way easier than I thought you were going to. I was like, you're too stoic. Like, Jon Snow, my boy. Like, what? Like, I wasn't ready. And then he's going to do some shit, dude.
Yeah, he's Black Knight, right?
Yeah, did you
I stayed to the end.
Did you read up on who the mysterious voice was?
Well, people are saying maybe it's Blade.
Oh, it's official. It was Mahershala Ali.
Oh,
that was Blade.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's go.
Sick. That's sick.
Yeah, it's going to be insane. So there could be like this Midnight Suns connection because that's like
That'd be so cool.
you got Blade, the Black Knight, Moon Knight, other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And Moon Knight's coming to Disney Plus, and I think Blade's actually going to debut in that. And so who's to say Dane Whitman might not also as well. So
sick.
Insane. But no, my favorite Eternals were Druig and Cersei,
Oh, yeah.
I think, were my two.
Cool. Druig's my least favorite.
That's fine.
I thought one I would cut out would be Druig.
I thought that guy played such a cool, like, that guy's going to be the bad guy.
Oh, yeah.
And he wasn't.
Yeah.
He was actually the one that was just like, I am sick and tired of our purpose. Like, as a harmony guy, like, as a guy who loves to see people unified, his whole thing was like, I can literally stop bloodshed from happening forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, no, we got to let them kill each other. That's his whole arc. And it's just like, dude, yes. However, mind control, also not like the fix.
Right.
But kind of cool.
No, but yeah, he's definitely like, oh, when he started doing like, okay, he might be a villain or whatever, but I'm like, Icarus is the villain,
yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. But yeah, I feel like he was trying to be the red herring of like, I'll just go and do my own thing.
And be like,
it's
we have to fight you at some point.
And he's also just like the physically like least
intimidating.
But dude, that power is insane.
Yeah, that's great.
That's
like,
awesome.
I feel like you could combine him with like the engineer or like
sure.
And like you could combine Ajax with Athena and like just like slender down these characters.
For sure.
Yeah.
Athena didn't have to have memory loss. That didn't make any sense to me. That was a weak point for me.
Well,
or like all of a sudden all the Eternals that have the same amount of memories, why is she affected?
Good. It was like a fluke thing. I feel like
I
would take that storyline and make it. I would make Athena the leader, and the reason she can't lead anymore is because of this.
She's forgetting stuff.
Not having Ajax kill her, whatever, or Ajax to be killed.
Gilgamesh was goated. That guy, I call him Tough Wong.
Yeah,
because he looks exactly like Wong. Also, Icarus does look a lot like Bucky. So like, I know there's people that have like had to like come out and say like, hey, just so you know, like, Bucky can't shoot lasers out of his eyes now.
Yeah.
It's not really Bucky. And they're like, it's Bucky. Like, there's people, like, legitimately, if you go to a Marvel movie and it's like, whoa, Bucky, like, got some shit done. You know, too. It's like, no. And Gilgamesh does look eerily similar to Benedict Wong, who, like, is Wong in, Doctor Strange and that stuff. So it's just like, those two guys literally already look like two other superheroes.
Yeah.
And of course they're both dead. It's like, sorry, no. Like, we can't have you both be on the same. You have too many doppelgangers.
Yeah.
But in another world, James Buchanan Barnes is Icarus.
Yeah. In my mind, in my head.
In my mind. But no, Druig was interesting. Cersei was also dope. Her powers, super interesting.
Yeah.
Everyone else like had projectiles, and hers was like, I change stuff.
Yeah,
and I don't.
That was really
that
cool.
doesn't mean I have to like kill people.
Yeah,
I'm just like peaceful. You know. She was really cool, and I think Gemma Chang, is that her name?
Sounds about right.
She was in Crazy Rich Asians, killed it. I thought she did a great job here.
Everyone does good. I feel like everyone does good, but like I think like it's a little stilted at times.
It's also weird how normal they are for being eternal beings.
Yeah, they're kind of just like hanging out.
That's why I would. So when you said Kumail was your like favorite character, for me, I was like, this doesn't feel like a guy who would be infinitely smart and like really have like cashed in on like the eternal gift of being here. He felt like, I'm Kumail Nanjiani and I've just been here for 7,000 years. It's like, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
Yeah, they felt like they were modern time people.
Yeah.
They didn't feel like
And
they
I
had
have-
7,000 years of knowledge and human history and war and all this stuff.
It was weird. When they were together, they didn't feel like eternal. They did feel like family, which was sick. I just don't know if they... man, it just... They were almost like more flawed and more human than like some of the human
Well,
characters.
they're like Greek gods to that extent.
Yeah, true. But like, I'm just saying, like Captain America almost felt more like of an eternal. Like when I think of like a guy
okay.
who like never,
Heroic and whatever.
he's just so like, not even like bound by like fleshly temptation. Like he's just like, I'm here to fight the war.
Yeah.
And everyone else felt like, I mean, even like Cersei's like, I'm trying to find love, and it, you know, and all this stuff. It's just like, whoa, like, I don't know. So I had my issues with Kumail just in the regards to like, yeah, I get it, you're hilarious, and when you're funny, you're killing it, you're great. I just felt like that was weird, and you also just leave in the third act of the movie, and like, I don't know if there was like a real good motive. I mean, people were trying to say like his devotion to Icarus, he's just being a good guy.
Well, it
by
wasn't
taking
devotion. It was like he agreed with Icarus.
Yeah, but he was also making a movie about Icarus. Like, dude's a fanboy. Like, there was some weird stuff going on there, and I was like,
well,
it feels like you had to make another movie.
Yeah. Do you think this would have been a better Disney Plus series?
Oh, 100%. Give me a Babylon episode. Give me a...
Yeah.
And just spread the sucker out over like 9 episodes. Would have made perfect sense. Absolutely. Yeah.
I think obviously, yeah, if it would have been fine having a series, but I think if you changed the timeline of this movie where you give us all the beginning stuff and don't give us this like, oh, the team broke up and then we go flashback, like just do all that in the beginning and we see the team coming back together and then make it like 3 less scenes of the team coming back together.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think be 3 less characters, and I think if you would have sprinkled Eternals a little bit earlier, so it didn't feel so just jarring. Don't get me wrong. I understand Guardians of the Galaxy exists.
Well, that's 5 characters.
Right, but I'm not. I just mean like purely new.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I just felt like you can't tell me that these people were here and they're just like, yeah, but there weren't deviants involved, so we just didn't do anything. And it's like, that's fine. The Avengers don't abide by that. And so when a celestial is coming out of Earth's crust, shit's going down, and I think someone's going to show up. Falcon's going to at least be flying over, patrolling.
Yeah, Friday's going to be like,
somebody's doing something.
Yeah, there's a disturbance in the Indian Ocean.
And so at this point, I just don't think that they get the grace of, well, they're just trying to build some shit. It's like, no, this movie felt so forced in some ways where it was like, we need to just get these characters in there, that you can't have another earthly threat right after Endgame and tell me that none of our characters, like Doctor Strange, isn't figuring some shit out. Like, you can't give us the scale and say we're keeping an eye on it. Wong's checking like his radar every like 2 seconds.
He's found the 10 rings.
He's found the 10 rings. Like, everyone's like monitoring it. And a freaking celestial is like coming out of like Earth, like it's giving birth. And it's just like, oh, these 6 people.
See, that's why, like, if it was an MCU movie, that would have gone to pass.
Yeah. No, but I'm glad it is, because like I love what we're getting from this movie.
Yeah.
I just think you gotta, and these are the things that I don't think Chloe Zhao should get criticism for.
100%.
There was nothing wrong about how that was directed.
She was given like, you have to do these 10 characters.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
There is some aspect of the Marvel Cinematic Universe where it's not going to be just, hey, we'd love to have a Blade movie. Do you want to just like take them any direction you want to go? No, like, we live in a real, like, the story is going to be linear. They can take risks and do stuff, but I just feel like,
yeah.
I just don't think you can blame this on directing. Somebody wrote this, and there's only so much you can do.
If you want all these characters, put like half of them in the first Eternal movie, and then like have them meet the other Eternals on a different Earth.
Exactly.
And be like,
that whole
there
Harry
we go.
Styles end credit scene was like, why didn't just half of them be his Eternals? Would have made perfect sense. Yeah. Made total sense. Tell you what, I'm pretty jacked for Harry Styles being an Eternal. I'm like, yo.
Yeah.
All right. I looked up Star Fox and who he is, and his only power is that he makes people fall in love with him.
Dang.
Just like, that sounds like Harry Styles, my guy. Let's get it. Like, I love that we're at this point where it can literally just be, you get a job, you get a job, you get a job. This is awesome. And it's also just good news for me because maybe at one point I could get into the MCU. Like, they're going to run out of people.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'll get to be like the 18th Uncle Ben. I'm like, that's what I'm really shooting
Phase
for. It's
64,
like,
baby,
oh,
let's
I get
go.
to die for Peter Parker, baby. Let's do it. Well, Tom Holland hasn't gotten his Uncle Ben yet, so I'd even age up. You know,
Hey,
I'd totally put on a beard and just get mugged. Just mug the crap out of me.
Shoot me. Shoot me right now.
The only time I'll ever ask for that. So anyway, that's kind of where I'm at with it. Of just it. I think 5 years from now, I'll look back on this movie and be like, thank you for introducing us to a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that the moral of your story wasn't. It had more to do with pushing.
The agenda
they were an injection of characters and content into a world that's desperate for some sort of linear idea of what's going on right now.
So
more mystery and more just shit just into the MCU is fine to some degree. But I just want to express that, like, while we're still saying keep swinging and taking risks, still make it somewhat digestible so that we can, like, follow.
I think they know that. I think they're just like, okay, we got to take this. And then now, after we can take more swings because now this is established.
Yeah. And I just don't think they did a good enough job with the characters that I do like, that I don't feel like there were kids that left this movie going, man, huge Cersei fan.
Yeah. No.
Huge Icarus fan.
No.
Like, no one, like, it wasn't really made for kids either.
No.
This had the first sex scene in any Marvel movie.
Yeah, that was
wild.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this is happening.
I was like, whoa. Like, I get that there's Game of Thrones characters in this movie, like, but still, like, and there's like, first sex scene. I guess, like, technically Iron Man is implied to have had sex with people,
right?
Like,
but
like
you
off
don't,
screen,
you don't
but
see
it's
that
like
much.
it was like these people were actually like naked, you know, just like, oh, Marvel, whoa, okay.
All right, you get Rob Stocker on set, and then all of a sudden,
and then there was like other stuff where like Fastus, or is it Fastus or Fastus? Fastus.
Yeah.
F. Okay.
Yeah.
Love that dude.
Mm-hmm.
But like we got two scenes where he's like, I want to make a steam engine. They're like, no. And he's like, okay. And then it's like Hiroshima, and he's like, shit,
oh, I suck.
Tech is way too advanced. And then
he's like, never mind. Actually, I love humans.
And then like I love, and not that his motives change. I just don't think we got enough.
No,
I think they did him dirty.
Oh yeah.
Like the only thing that's redeemable about him is one, great actor, dude killed it.
Mm-hmm.
And that he finally at least added some stakes to the movie.
He has some ties to the earth.
He like has a son and is like, you know what? I love people. It's like sick because you're like one of the only two that do. You know, everyone else for some reason like cares a lot about all these random things.
But like, I mean, they're just like growing up with humanity, like literally taking care of. They're like basically your children, I guess, in a sense.
Yeah. And I get it. I like the idea of like being frustrated with like, we came here, we kicked ass, now what do we do?
Mm.
I get that would cause like a rift in your identity. Sick. Introduce us to these people a little bit more, because I feel like there's a few people that were not done justice.
I feel like I don't even I would, there's like an hour and a half in modern times of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Before like final action scene. So like setup is like an hour and a half. I would flip that. I would say all past stuff and like a half an hour in the modern times, and then have our end fight scene.
Yep.
I think the end is good.
Yep. Yeah.
little clunky with like the deviants and like the like she just kind of like she gains the power because the Sentinel is awakening, sure, but like I know like Fastest has the line where it's like, I wondered how we would get off the planet. It's like, you just figured out.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and the other issue that I had with that was like they thought they were going to need all of them for the Unimind.
Yeah, and then you get like 3 of
a
them.
couple people died, so they couldn't physically do it for you. And then one left.
Yeah. And they just kind of like do it.
They still ended up doing it, you know?
It's not the best. like I would have a Unimind scene in the beginning where they like defeat a big deviant with the Unimind. Yeah. Set that up.
Oh, the other guy done dirty was the deviant who was like, I was a dog and now I'm a man and now I die.
And now I am dead.
Poor guy. Like,
there was a lot to do there because it was like, oh, we're both pawns. Anyways,
that was sick.
That was good. Good stuff.
Like,
but they don't dive into that at all.
You could have even had him like maybe jump in since he had like eternal powers.
I think if they teamed up, that was where I was going.
Yeah. So like I think you said like it just felt like they should have gone right when they went left a few times throughout the film.
Yeah.
The other thing I was gonna say, I do love how like different visually this movie looks.
Yes.
I know you said you thought the visuals were great. I thought some of the powers looked great. I think everything with Icarus looked like ass.
Really?
Yeah. I
liked his laser eyes.
Laser eyes were kind of cool, but any time
his flying was kind of off.
He was so CGI'd at points where I was like, oh, this looks like a Superman but like not all the budget just goes towards Superman. Like they also had like the Flash lady.
Oh, she looks great.
She was awesome. Makara or something like that.
Sure.
She was great. Loved her. She was awesome. Looked awesome. They also said that she's faster than the Flash, which I guess you can say whatever you want.
Yeah.
If you're Kevin Feige. She was sick, and she's with my boy.
No, she's not. She can't break this time. She can't go back in time.
She ran around the world pretty fast.
But her design was cool.
Her design was sick.
Where she like stops and has this momentum.
Because it was
push.
her.
Yeah.
I felt like Icarus was never him. His body would like do this like wiggle in the sky, and it was like a human body would never move like that.
We want to do that again?
Yeah, it's just like he just like slithers like a snake whenever he's like, I need to fly away. It's like, get the hell out of here. It's like, well, at what point? Yeah. So I felt like that didn't look good.
I just like the gold.
I do like that as well, but like I just would have made it all look more practical. And I don't know if one of them had to fly.
Yeah. Like
it also was like clearly that one of them was way more powerful. Like at one point, Kumail's just like, yeah, he's better than all of us.
Yeah.
And it's like, that doesn't make any sense. You guys should have all been created equal to do this job. And then all of a sudden people are just like, yeah, he's just way better. And it's like, well, yeah, because he has the exact same power set as Superman, and this has always been the problem.
Yeah.
You know, like, this has always been the problem. Yeah. But I just, like, there's just little things like that where I'm like, I don't know. Like, I really like Cersei's power, and I like all of them, but you're right. Like, for just straight-up damage, kind of seems like the guy who can fly has super strength and laser eyes. It's going to do it.
People like I saw like Cersei's power. I'm like, she's literally the most powerful person there because she could like do she can like change.
If she can get your hand, but I mean, if you have laser eyes, who gives a shit?
I'm sure she could like block she could touch the laser eyes and change them to butterfingers. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Get the butterfingers.
If it's matter, but I don't know if that's matter.
What's the matter?
What's the matter with the matter? But no, I agree. I think her power is cool. I really like Thena's like whole thing.
Yeah, like sword and shield.
Those looked fine too. Yeah. I just thought, man, Icarus was.
I just like the look of like this whole like like cosmic
yes
feel of the movie.
Yes,
that was very good. But it felt like we spent a lot of time on Earth.
You know what this? You know what this felt like?
In a room.
This felt like a setup for Galactus and the Silver Surfer.
Oh, that moment when
Like
the
cosmic
celestial
stuff?
comes to the end, I'm like,
Yeah.
Galactus. I can see it. Oh, it's so.
He's like,
cool.
we'll judge that world later.
Yeah.
Which was kind of a little convenient.
It was like, whoa,
You
wait, what's
disobeyed
happening?
me.
What's happening?
I'll allow it.
You're
It's
like,
whoa.
anyways, come with me. I'm like, whoa. There was like,
Yeah.
it's just like the last 5 minutes of the movie. We're like, wait.
Everything I heard in that line though was, I'm gonna send our judgment celestial, which is Galactus. Like
Yeah,
I think
heard
they
nothing.
have. I think.
I heard.
Well, yeah.
I'm like, wait, what happened?
Erishim, the scale of Erishim was sick. Every time they went and talked to him, and they're like this, and like
Yeah,
his face
dope,
huge. That was
dope.
awesome. Scale was great, but his line to me made it seem like there is a judgment celestial, and I bet he commands like Galactus to be
Yeah.
like, hey, that world was never
Go get
meant
some
to like.
dum-dums.
So go eat, let her eat. Maybe send Silver Surfer first. You know, I don't know. That's what it sounded like
Yeah.
to me.
So what I really like, one of the parts that I just absolutely loved is the concept of like the permanence of having a celestial coming out of the earth and frozen. Like I love the idea of that being just a part of the world now.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like I love
Yeah.
it being like, oh man, like this had an effect, and this is like where this battle
Yeah.
happened. Like I love that idea. So
From a science point of view, do you think there should be like, so they said there were massive like earthquakes. Do you feel like maybe he would have displaced some water, and it would have maybe caused some like?
He's literally coming from the earth.
I feel like
The earth is gone.
Yeah. Okay.
The earth is gone.
It just felt like
He's literally
Again.
coming out of the earth. Like,
Again.
He's splitting the earth.
yeah, with his
And
hand
making-
and his head's coming out.
Yeah.
Like it. Yeah. He's.
You ever like, you know what an egg is, right?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's these chickens, and they lay these eggs, and if you crack an egg even a little bit, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm following. I think.
I just feel like if you were to, like, there's
I just-
the
yeah.
crust, and then like you crack the crust a little bit, and
I mean,
the water.
I think there's gonna be some displacement of stuff going on. Yeah.
Even if you like, what is that, like 1% of the Earth's area? Like you're cracking that open, and like there's damage to that, and it's
Yeah.
literally going into like the atmosphere.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, if your hand and like shoulder, no, yeah, that the Earth is gone,
So I think for me, it was just like,
or it gets tilted off its axis. It's
Yeah.
messed up.
yeah, this just felt like it went almost back to like what superhero movies were before the MCU, where it was like everything had been so grounded. They explained everything so well that like Thanos, even though his like whole might was that he could beat the shit out of anyone, it still felt like there's maybe a chance.
Mhm.
This movie was just like, and he is an ant compared to this. And luckily, these 6 people who aren't Avengers were there. You know?
and I just felt like, to me, like it just felt like having these beings that were so massive in scale, let's like dwarf to like Hawkeye. Like
Yeah.
it felt like, oh, now we're being like,
Yeah,
gods.
doing a Christmas Hawkeye show after this is pretty wild.
yeah,
It's just like, damn it, I wanted to like enjoy Hawkeye, but it's also just gonna be like, man, you killing like 2 bank robbers is
doesn't matter.
really not
Like none of this matters anymore. Like that's what it means to me. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, none of this matters.
Yeah. Which we'll like it because it's gonna be character driven, and we're gonna grow and to
it's gonna
fall
be
in
great.
love
It's
with
gonna be
people.
great, but like,
but
I just feel like just having like these celestials and like having like even like the Eternals be like, well, we invented the engine, and we just like not giving it to it. Like it just diminishes and belittles like kind of like a lot of things.
yeah, did humans actually grow without any like
Help.
real interference? Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, so I think this one,
It's
I don't
hard.
like nitpicking because I know you can nitpick every Marvel movie.
Right.
I know you can, but I just think like they did such a good job of not having to go out of their way to explain why is just Captain America helping out with this one, or why is that all made sense to me. So when you introduce 10 after you've just done, I mean, Doctor Strange literally was like, it's better for 5 years of half the population because of like the scale has been, the game has changed, and then they just literally like upped it even more. and it just felt weird that there wasn't at least one other and it would also just help it become more of a Marvel movie if you just included, like, what if you had like half the Eternals, have them meet us in the end credit scene when they're like in space, and you actually had them connect with modern day.
Yeah.
Because like Ajax was like, I've seen them fight back and now I love them. Okay, cool. Why don't we show a couple scenes of Ajax like meeting with
Someone.
Falcon or like the new Captain America, or like let's have her meet up with
Wong, or like.
and apparently she's signed up for more movies.
Interesting.
So I don't know what her whole play is, if Eternals, since they've always been created.
Yeah, you could just make another one.
Are there that many of the same ones on different planets or different universes?
Mm-hmm.
So if the multiverse opens, can you just re-get all of the Eternals and maybe get a good Icarus? I don't know.
Yeah, it's also just hard to be like, we're tackling the multiverse and Celestials and this. It's just like,
It's a lot.
so what's important here? And
It's a
does
lot.
any of it matter? Because like, it's all just like multiverse.
Well, and the thing to remember too is when this phase of movies was getting figured out, Guardians 3 was supposed to be before all of this. And James Gunn got fired. And so we may be missing like a huge link, and they just said, you know what, screw it. Make the same movies, and maybe Guardians 3 was supposed to be and now it's going to be something even more different than what it was before. Who knows? Like, there's some stuff. Like, I don't think Black Widow was ever meant to be like our first.
Oh, yeah, the Black Widow just looks so weird compared to this
It's
now.
crazy. Yeah. And I mean, I know we're going to have grounded stuff, but I'm almost wondering if they're going to have to go like big scale movie and then like small scale Disney Plus.
Yeah, because it's weird to bring up Black Widow now, because like, I just appreciate this movie so much more for trying more than Black Widow did.
Yeah.
Like, I just love that they just tried. And I'm like, Black Widow was like, yeah, it was better technically, but like.
Yeah. But who cares at this point?
Yeah.
Like, no one's going back to be like, you know what? Time to watch Black Widow again.
Yeah. Like, I want to watch Eternals again because I'm just like, I just need to go know what's going on.
Yeah.
This. Like.
Yeah. I'm excited of where this will go.
Yeah.
Those end credit scenes really got me hyped up. I was like, all right, I could do without Patton Oswalt's Pip the Troll. But other than that,
Yeah.
if just my boy Harry Styles showed up, let's go.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go.
Man.
And the Black Knight, like, some street level shit's going on too.
Yeah.
So like, for being so grand,
But yeah, like Kid
it's
Harington's like, I need to try. I'm like, what are you gonna do?
He's got this sick blade. That's what he's got. Yeah, but
it's not
you're
gonna
right.
do anything.
You're right. I mean, the way they cleaned it up was you guys go on a ship, go out there. Celestial comes, gets these guys. You go out there. So now the world is back to normal.
Yeah.
Like without any
It's Celestials.
things. So now they'll probably tackle spaceship again. Like
Right. Space.
Thor, Guardians will all kind of meet up with the Eternals. And then they'll probably be like, hey, Galactus is coming to kill Earth. Warn everyone. And then we're back to Avengers 5 or whatever. And it's like the world has gotten stronger, but they're not ready for... I mean, there's nothing you can do against Galactus.
Yeah, but Hawkeye has a bow and arrow. And I don't think they thought about that.
And they haven't thought about the Fantastic Four yet. So maybe he'll
not them
get...
united.
Dang. They haven't thought about Hawkeye. Not Hawkeye United.
With a bow and arrow. And his daughter.
Fair enough. But yes, I do think casting wise, great. I thought character wise, good.
I liked
what they were doing. I like the risks that they're taking. So while we may be nitpicking and kind of crapping on this movie, I think it's fair and warranted, but also I would rather eat shit for a couple of these movies while they're figuring it out and do something new rather than we'll just do, Yeah,
I'm really happy that this movie went against the formula.
Yeah.
I'm just really happy.
Yep, I agree.
Even though it was like, it wasn't great, but try again.
Yeah, I agree. All right.
And man, I feel like, if you're listening to it, it probably sounded like a pretty negative review, but there were good parts, and I liked the stuff in the past, and I like. Yeah, we didn't even talk about like what's the the little girl's name and like
Sprite.
how she can't grow up. I liked her kind of dynamic.
Yeah.
And then she stabs Cersei, and then Cersei's like, anyways, I can turn you into a human now. Do you want that? And she's like, yeah, sorry I stabbed you.
Yeah.
Nuts.
That was insane.
So I just feel
And
like,
kind of a cool way to explain like why she'll be older the next time she shows
yeah,
up.
because they want to cast another whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But there is good stuff hidden in here. It's just like it just doesn't get fleshed out. Like cut some characters out. I would like some more. Like do the past. Not have them be like have them fracture as a team, but not have them be like, well, now we got to spend 10 minutes in Australia and then 10 minutes in the Amazon and then 10 minutes in here.
Yeah.
It's like
weirdly, it's about the same length as Dune, and I feel like this movie felt like an hour longer.
Oh, I would watch. Yeah, Dune is brisker.
And it's weird because like they're I think the exact same runtime.
That's insane.
So anyway, food for thought. But
anyways, I'm gonna start a holy war in Cersei's name or something.
Yeah, I think I also want to be fair too, because I know I crap on the DC movies because it's like, hey, you got to make me care before I like am really invested in like you doing all this stuff, you know. And I know I've in the past been like, hey, Avengers Endgame happened, it's all icing on the cake, and I think that has helped me not hate any of these new movies. But I also don't want them to like slip under the radar because it's like, well, we got Endgame, so anything we just they get a pass. No, they don't get a pass per se. I think like that is a huge achievement that not any studio can really say. But it's also more of an argument for why these can be more disappointing movies because we've seen what they can do when they're firing on all cylinders. And so I do think movies going forward also need to understand it's not like you're creating a unique story and it's all of a sudden like they'll just judge it based off of its own stuff. It's like, no, it's got to tie into it.
Right.
And so especially when you try to not like almost purposefully not tie this in at all, it just is jarring.
Yeah,
it's like, wait, when does this take place except for you just told us that after they snapped. That's it. That's the only thing we have.
Right.
There
and
needs
you talk
to be
about like who's the new leader of the Avengers, and it's just like feels so weird.
Yeah, it just it doesn't feel right. Like, how do you guys know that the Avengers exist? I know you've been here for forever, but like we've never seen a scene
like
with you
this in the
interact.
universe,
Like, be in the universe or don't be.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair to also like judge this by the body of work that's already been created.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I think it's probably low or mid tier Marvel.
Same. I agree. It's better than Thor: The Dark World, I think.
Yeah.
Now, Nick, rank this for all the Marvel that's come this year. So I'm thinking Shang-Chi. I'm thinking Black Widow. Let's throw What If, Loki.
So you want to do all four shows?
All 4 shows and the movies. Rank
and the 3
from
movies.
best to worst.
Okay. Best is Loki. Second is Shang-Chi. Third is WandaVision. Fourth is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. 5, Black Widow. 6, Eternals. 7, What If.
Wow, you did not like What If.
What If was fine.
Huh.
I don't know. Maybe there were parts that were cool. Just nothing had any like impact on the MCU yet.
Yeah.
So if it ties in, great. But like, it truly was a what if. So like for me, it's like that was fun, a thought exercise, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm more worried about the things that are like gonna actually change what happens. And
that's why. Yeah.
Maybe.
That's why Loki. Yeah, I agree. I would have the same exact list: Loki, Shang-Chi, WandaVision, then Falcon, then I would put What If, then Black Widow, and Eternals, and then way down there is Han Solo.
love it.
At 99.
It's crazy though to think though
99.99.
that before this year ends, we'll still have a full Hawkeye TV show out. That ends on Christmas week. Starts Thanksgiving.
Oh my goodness.
Ends on Christmas. And a Spider-Man movie. That's
Oh my gosh.
arguably.
And we had Venom.
Well, yeah, we did have Venom.
Technically.
Yeah.
Got that.
It wasn't a
adrenaline.
Marvel movie until
Venom.
it was a Marvel
Venom.
movie. Yeah. I mean, it's always a Marvel movie, big M Marvel, but it actually tied into the new one. So, yeah. No, I think
There's a lot. There's a lot to
film.
unpack. Like, I'm still digesting my feelings of this movie.
And if you think about what's coming out next year, I mean, this was all kind of the fun new stuff. Next year is Doctor Strange sequel, Thor sequel, Black Panther sequel, and then all the shows. Moon Knight, She-Hulk, those types of things. So I think next year is going to be a banger. And so I think some of this also felt like, let's just get this out so that the big players can play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think Eternals felt like we got to get you in here because you're about to do something in space and we just want to have like familiar faces.
Yeah, you're like, you know what this basically is.
Kind of like Black Widow so that Florence Pugh can show up at the end and be like,
Pew
oh,
pew.
wait, you're teamed up with the guy
Yeah.
from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's all blah. You know, like,
Yeah, oh, blah, blah, blah.
you know, so it's all.
Blah.
Some of that's going to be an issue going forward because pacing, if COVID or another pandemic causes more, but your Disney Plus shows have already been filmed, you're kind of in this weird. The way they wanted to tell the story, I don't think has gone the exact
No,
way
I
they
don't
wanted to
think so,
tell.
yeah.
And so, like, the fact that it's still holding on is like, hey, you're fine. But Eternals, I think, is one of those that felt very like,
You could have probably waited.
we need to rush you into this, or you need to just not. Like, it didn't feel necessary until it will feel necessary. And so I think that's where, like, the same issues with Age of Ultron were. And I've come to love Age of Ultron. At the beginning, I would have said it was like a 5 out of 10, and now see it more as like an 8 because of just like, whoa, you did some heavy lifting and you didn't suck that bad. Like,
Yeah, but like, yeah, I speaking from not knowing anything about where they're going with Eternals, it feels like Age of Ultron has so many more stakes of setting up
True.
Civil War.
Agreed.
So
Yeah.
Ragnarok and Black Widow and like
Yeah.
literally the rest. But like this could also be the rest. You're setting up the Celestials. You're setting up Harry Styles. You're setting up.
You're setting up a second Eternals team that we don't know exists yet because
Right.
Harry Styles has his Eros or whatever. Star Fox
Has his
has his Eternals, which could be cool. That means we're gonna get arguably 6 or 7 more just random actors to do some cool shit. That's
yeah.
awesome. Hopefully it's a show instead. Celestials are now not just like a thing the Collector told us about at one point. They're
Really,
actually
yeah.
there and they're active. That's cool. Black Knight, street level, New York stuff, Blade. So I mean, it did some. I mean, this was the one that kind of like, because Shang-Chi was still like, hey, we're gonna tie
It's
you
pretty
into
tight, yeah.
Avengers, and your sister's still doing like it's still Shang-Chi stuff.
Yeah.
Black Widow didn't really set anything up. It just ended a good story, you
Uh-huh.
know, like. So I feel like Eternals was at least the one that goes like, hey, we know that was a
Here's a
lot,
lot.
but boom, like
Yeah.
there's some stuff going, and guess what? MCU's still strong as ever. We're getting singers to do stuff for us now. We're getting everybody. Like, who knows? Like, their whole Eternal squad could be just insane. Like, it could be literally One Direction.
Oh my.
Like, think about that. His entire Eternals team could be like One Direction. It
Nick,
could be Ariana Grande.
if
It could be Justin Timberlake.
Nick, if it's One Direction as his Eternal squad, I will sing One Thing live on the podcast.
I just hope it's That's What Makes You Beautiful. Or Beautiful by One
sure, I
Direction.
can sing that one too.
Ugh. I just remember when Harry Styles was a wee little British boy
He got
coming over here.
big old
and then
hair.
Now he's over here just slaying it, my guy. My guy.
Well,
Anyway,
man,
we
did it.
We did our best.
Yeah, that was pretty. I don't know if that was concise, but we did it.
I don't know if it was concise either, but I think it was thorough.
It was thorough. We did. We talked about that movie.
We did.
Anyways,
Yeah.
how are you doing?
I'm doing well.
Nice.
I think people might view us as deviants after this.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Yeah.
This was one time where I was like, clearly Rotten Tomatoes is so wrong because they've got some weird agenda thing. And I think I agreed with them score-wise, but probably not for the same reasons.
I agree.
I loved a lot of the stuff that happened in this movie. I just think as a movie, if we were to review it, this is its score.
Yeah, there's like, that was really cool.
Yeah.
But also...
Because typically you don't watch, like, the Titanic and go, man, the shit that stuff set up. Woo!
Yeah.
You watch Titanic and you go, that was a movie, and then this is the score.
Right.
So you don't add that in and be like, wow, this really set up a real, like...
Yeah, that's why I feel like if this wasn't part of a universe and you, like, just
The
cleaned
setup
up the
score
ending...
can't really affect the score.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's intangible. Because we don't know what it... Like, we could say, dude, hype train, Harry Styles, 10 out of 10, this movie's amazing.
Yeah.
Or, Harry Styles is going to be a very minor character and does nothing in the MCU, and they just kind of got him for some fun, one-off movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's over. Well, now that setup score goes away. So we just rated a movie poorly because of the setup that didn't...
It's all setup.
Yeah.
All this movie is really just like, hey, here's these characters, and we need
so
this
we have
celestial,
to, we have
need
to
this
treat it
and
like a
that.
movie, too.
Yeah, so it's not a concise movie. It's a setup, really. So,
Yeah. Whereas, like, Dune, while it is a lot of setup, still has story.
Movie. Yeah.
Like, and it's setting up a part 2 to the, like, book that it's finishing. It's not setting up something to be like, and we don't know what happens next.
Yeah.
We'll have to watch.
Yeah.
It's literally just, doing that. And there is no clear part 2 to Eternals. I will make an argument and say that they're not going to get the trilogy
Was it supposed to be a trilogy?
Well, typically, like, teams or solo characters get the trilogy treatment. I think Eternals will just kind of be injected into other teams.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't see why we would need Eternals 2. Because they're not here anymore. So, I mean, if that's what their team's called,
I mean, they
then
literally
maybe.
weren't here, and then they teamed up in this entire movie, so they can do it again in 2.5 hours.
Do you think any of them got snapped?
No.
I don't think so either.
Yeah.
I don't know if they count as life.
Man, yeah, did a Celestial get snapped? That'd been insane.
Yeah. I don't know.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know what counts as life.
I would say no because like they didn't say anything about like, whoa, yeah, remember when I got snapped?
Yeah, that would have been wild.
But yeah,
they should have because if you can like have sex with each other.
But they're robots.
Oh. So you think Dane Whitman might be having sex with a robot?
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
All right. I will. That's crazy. Yeah. I suppose.
They're not life because
they
they're
have
robots.
energy going through them.
Yeah, but it's like...
I mean, they're beings. They were created. I mean, the deviants still feel very like we feast and we do stuff. You know, I mean, like, the deviants were also created by the Celestials. So I don't think that, like, they're void of life.
Right.
They also said they multiplied a lot faster and stuff like that.
Well,
so.
But
the deviants were also created to clear out the apex predators.
Right, but the Eternals can't duplicate. They can't.
It's true.
Multiply it while deviant can.
It's fair. Weird.
Anyways, I just hope a Celestial got snapped because that'd been awesome. That'd been so sick.
It's just like Arsheem's like, you're almost ready for my like mission.
I don't feel so good.
I don't feel very good.
Mr. Stark.
Ajax, go on with that.
I don't feel very good, Ajax.
Yeah. And I also think too the scale was so good, but the scale also made the stakes so just like when Icarus was like, we have to let billions die so that we can save billions more. And I'm just like, you said billions, and then you said billions again. It just feels like it's the same number.
Yeah,
I know what he's saying. He's like, we can let one planet die so that billions can exist.
So 7 billion can die, so hundreds of billions.
Hundreds of billions, and you're
you say trillions.
Yeah, but still, like. The human mind, if you tell me like 2 people are going to die tomorrow or 10 million are going to die like 3 days from now, I'm still worried about the 2. I'm just like, oh, but 2 I can like tangibly see 2 people. 10 million? I just don't know. Like it's just too much for me to be like
comprehend.
They're like every football stadium filled 3 times. I'm just like still don't get it. like my mind just can't.
Yeah.
Fathom.
No.
So when you're just like, we need to save billions to save billions. You're just like,
You said billions twice.
I don't know what's going on. It just feels like that's just like, genocide with just more work. Like, I just don't get it. Like, help me understand.
Yeah.
Why do you care so much about life that you're willing to lose so much of it?
Right. Oh,
I don't know.
Whoa. Deep.
Yeah, anyway. Deep. And then just flew right into the sun. Not too close.
Not too close. Literally into the sun. Those wings are gone.
Yeah. That was insane that they did that.
Yeah.
That was wild. Anyway, what a movie.
Yeah. I like the little stories that they're like, oh, yeah, Icarus. She made up the story of Icarus.
Yeah.
And then, like, Athena became from Athena. Like, I like the little, like, and Gilgamesh. And it's like,
regardless of what we say score-wise, though, you need to understand that we can also talk about this movie for over an hour, which means it obviously
has something.
Had value in that we can remember things about it and that it was, like, memorable in a lot of ways. And so
I agree. Yeah, I feel like a lot of value from a movie is from the discussion that it has, whether good or bad.
Yeah, I'll remember more from this movie than I will of, like, the ones I don't like.
Yeah.
Like Captain Marvel, don't care. I just don't care.
Yeah.
And then, like, Thor 2, don't care.
I will probably remember more of this movie than I will even, like, a Black Widow.
Oh, interesting.
Just because I'm like, dang, this was nuts.
It was crazy. Fair enough.
Well, you've heard crazy reviews of The Eternals, but you haven't heard a review of The Eternals. Not from us. Not from us United.
Boom. My guy.
Eternals, unite!
You've just listened to Not Us United. You can find us under Not Us United on Spotify, iTunes, and YouTube. Please leave us a review and consider subscribing to our podcast. You can reach out for future podcast topic suggestions at notusunitedpod@gmail.com.